Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host.
Charlie Seymour.
And I'm Tim Sternberg. Hit it, Nick. We are back. Woo. Can you believe it? We're almost done with this year, Charlie. How you doing, buddy?
What a week, huh?
One a week. We're almost at our 1 year mark, which is wild. We started this podcast in January of this year, and we're almost round two.
Uh,
Not
nearing
awesome.
50, nearing 50 of them as well.
That's awesome, bro. I mean, I've been having a ball doing these. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. I know you. I know you're very good, and we'll talk about why a little later on
We
in this
we did
podcast.
we did pretty well on some predictions.
Yeah, we sure
That'll be the
did.
tease.
Or I won't say we. I'll say more you. I'll give you the credit.
Team effort.
All right,
It's a
team
team
effort.
effort.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're right on, spot on. Anyway, well, we did good in this prediction too. So we're gonna go to first base right now, and we're gonna talk about probably not probably the hottest show, the hottest season in quite some time of our favorite show, Survivor. Dude,
What a
we
finish.
your girl. Woo!
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
We've
All
been
right.
we've been calling I've been calling for this since like what, week 3 or 4 of the season.
You
Early
you
favorite. And
absolutely had this
you don't
pegged
really get
way
that
early
you
on.
don't really get that satisfaction sometimes, but
You had this. I can go back like to episode in September, October, where you were talking about Rachel and how she was just dominating. And yeah, you called it pretty early, bro.
I wish you would have talked about it more in the final trial. But the moment when she went and got the idol in front of everybody and had to
And the
cut it
French
out of the
fries.
tarp. No, not even the French
Oh,
fry one.
oh, the
Before that,
tarp one.
yeah,
Yes.
weeks and like a good 4 or 5 weeks before that one. I mean, that's the one that she held forever. That's what she used at week 4.
And
Like
we
the
talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the bolder plays. I mean, you've seen some ones where they've had to do some bold things in front of the tribe, but usually it's like reaching underneath the shelter bed or like digging a little dirt. The way she had to cut it out in front of everybody, it wasn't like she just did it like Sam with one chop at the one challenge. It was like teeny, 50,000 little tiny cuts to finally get it.
That
But
was
she had
fun.
to
A
do it
good
in front of
reference.
everybody as a secret. Do you like that reference?
Yeah, what Charlie was alluding to real quick there is in the challenge, Teeny had kept cutting the rope to try to.
The machete. What's happening? Why isn't it working?
What's going on?
And
Something's wrong.
and literally, Sam,
And she's literally saying that, by the way. She's like, "What's going
one,
on?"
yeah, and then Sam just one swing, boom. He went from like fourth to second in the blink of an eye in that challenge, just like that.
Teeny's whining made me laugh. I'm sorry. I almost felt like she was insinuating that someone did something to her rope.
Right, right. Like what did I? It's like a trick birthday candle. They gave
Yeah,
her a trick rope.
exactly. All right, I digress. Go ahead. Continue with your thought on Rachel.
But yeah, from that moment, I mean, that was early in the season. As soon as she had to do that, I just wish she would have talked about that more at Tribal. She like brief, maybe, who knows how it's edited. It could have been talked about. But briefly, she very briefly mentions it, but she didn't hit on how she had to, if she would have fully explained, I had to go get the machete while 6 of you are sitting within 5 feet of me, or I had to cut the tarp with the machete while they're sitting there. I mean, that was one of the crazier ones.
She had one of the longest resumes I have seen. And mind you, I just started watching Survivor um 2 seasons ago. But she had one of the bigger resumes, I feel like. Or one it feels like 2 seasons. I think it was 1 season ago.
Yeah,
She, I mean, mind you, the four iconic immunity challenge wins alone, right? That is amazing. But she had, like you said, she had the tarp idol. She had the idol in the French fries. She had Saul giving her that advantage that really saved her game. And it's not,
Block a
and
vote as well.
right, block of a. I will say this: people out there are saying, "Well, she had all these advantages." And a lot of people are complaining out there in Twitter land or whatever you want to call it. Oh, she had these advantages. She was given this, and she shouldn't have won, and blah blah blah. I will argue, and I'm have a feeling you're going to agree with me that her getting those advantages is all part of the social game. She was able to convince people to do that for her. That's part of the game. It's about outwitting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, granted, the French fry one is luck, but uh, luck is also a little part of Survivor. They could
Luck is
have
part of any game.
they could have
Yeah.
gotten her out before she had a chance to use it. Another one that people aren't mentioning is how about her brilliant use of the shot in the dark?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my
She
God.
played the shot in the dark to gauge the tribe to see if she could get away with saving her idol. It worked. That same idol saves her again later, gets someone else out. Not to mention, everyone else on the tribe lost their shot in the dark for some rice. So
Yes.
not only did she make a great use of it, no one else even used it, period. So
Right.
that's another leg up. I mean,
Right.
I'm glad the votes went the way they did. It was a dominant win for a dominant player.
Yeah,
One of the more dominant ones.
the only person to vote for Sam was Kyle. Um, it was almost like a bro vote, I felt like,
Yeah.
I respect you, bro to bro. And
And I
I mean,
thought you
I
brought up a good point when you texted me. Even Sierra voted for Rachel, which shows you that, she respected the game because let's not take anything away from Sam. Let's give him his props. He played a good game, but it was a
Genevieve voted
clear
for her too.
it was yeah. I mean, Sam played a good game, but it was clear number. I'm going to say, even though he got second, I'm going to say personally, it was a clear number three or number four best game of the season. I thought Rachel played the best, and then I'd put Genevieve and Caroline up there and to the two and the three spot, in give or take. Those you can move around a little bit. A lot of people seem to think Caroline would have won if she didn't get blindsided by the that vote, but
I have a different opinion on Caroline. I think Caroline kind of rode coattails a little bit. I don't know if she necessarily played a better game. I would rank it Rachel, Genevieve, and Sam. But
yeah,
I think,
I'd put no Caroline no worse than four though. I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
agree. I mean, socially, she had a great game. I will
Yeah,
say
and
that.
she was so well liked. What
Yeah,
people brought up was how well she was liked by the jury.
that's right.
So that one would, because obviously in that scenario, Rachel goes instead of her. So it's a totally different ball game. If then, Sam could have probably had a better argument too if Rachel wasn't there. But Rachel did what Rachel does. She won the last challenge. And then her game was a loyal game and she brought Sue. I thought that was, other than if she wanted to knock Sam out and fire herself, or had she just coasted Sam in. Now, I think we can pretty much agree that Sam didn't really win that fire as much as Teeny and the elements kind of worked out in his
Luck.
favor a little bit. Yeah, it was also a little luck, so goes
You know,
both ways.
I'll say this. I have a theory. I feel like if you replace Sam with Caroline and Rachel in the top two, I still think Rachel wins, and here's why.
Oh,
I think
definitely. Rachel was the lock number one.
because honestly, Rachel, she played a great game. She doesn't have the warmest personality, I will say. She's a little rough. Her personality is a little bit. It's abrasive a little bit, tiny bit. And it came off that way too. And even though it did, and for me anyway, watching it, I'm ultra sensitive. You know this. But in watching in the tribal, I thought she came off a little abrasive, and I thought Sam did a better job of explaining. Although Sam just didn't have the resume that she did, and
Yeah.
ultimately, Survivor, if I'm, mind you, I'm back in it after a while, but Survivor is about respect of the game. I feel it's not
Hmm.
more Big Brother more personality based and less about respect of the game. Survivor more respect of the game, less personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
Um,
does. And I thought
uh,
Sam did an unbelievable fight. He was definitely better at Final Tribal, but her game overall was so much better that I'm glad the votes stayed true to the game.
And I'm gonna venture and take. I agree with you. I'm gonna venture and take a guess that the person that Jeff was alluding to wasn't Kyle, but it's Rachel for season 50. I think she's a lock in season 50. Jeff said something about you sent me this text about one of the best games he's ever seen.
Yeah,
Rachel played. So
agreed. Fully.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rachel and Kyle probably are locks for season 50. Um, I thought Sam played a good game. Here's where I think Sam faulted. And I was rooting for Sam. I like Sam. I thought he was a
Yeah.
fun player. Well, I like Sam going back to the Andy Sam thing because that was like interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, Sam could not win challenges, right? He just, when the time came, he always choked in the immunity challenge. Like he was in the lead at one point with the last immunity challenge, and
Yeah.
he couldn't
The
get
pu-
that
he
ball.
yeah, and then the one with the hanging puzzle, he was doing
Yeah,
okay, and then he just couldn't keep up.
no. So I think I mean a lot of it is just he wasn't able to do it. But I think in this scenario with Sue, who I don't think should have gotten any votes and she didn't, I think Sam deserved to be in first place in this scenario. Um,
59-year-old birthday Sue.
by the way,
Confirmed.
which nerdy me had to look up her birthday to see that the final episode was taped on June 6th.
Right before you taped your episode.
Right, 2 weeks before Trivial Pursuit. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so and apparently 2 weeks after this, season
48.
48 started to tape. Yeah. And they're currently casting for season 49. Those of you out there who are interested, hurry
I still
up.
got a few days to get in, a week
Yep,
or two left.
hurry up. Get those applications in, Michael. Oh man. Dude, what a great, and I said this to you. I am so glad you got me back into Survivor. I forgot how much I love the show. I really
Yeah.
do love the show. And I think part of it for me after a while got really monotonous and kind of the same thing's going to happen. And they lost me before they started to mix things up. I like the shorter season. Um what I don't want to happen, and this is just, a little preview, when they do decide season 50, I don't want recency bias. I want it spread out throughout the history of the show. I think that's more fun. I don't want people just
I
for the
think
last
that's
eight
what they'll
seasons.
do.
Yeah,
I think it's slightly it's on topic but slightly off. But the season of the challenge that's on, they did an eras one, and it's 10 people from like 0 to 10, 10
perfect.
people, and I feel like it's been a pretty good success. So they'll not saying it'll be perfect, but it'll mirror it off that.
Maybe they'll even do an errors version like that.
Yeah,
That would
true.
make sense.
Yeah, it should be fun. You know, another
Maybe
thing I
each
think we
era is its own tribe too.
could very well could be. That's basically how they started it until it got down to, X amount and they mix them all together.
Gotcha.
Mergatory or whatever you want to call it.
Mergatory.
With four of them, it would be pretty crazy. But maybe one of these days, somewhere in the middle, I don't know when you stop before you pick back up, but we could pick a season that was strong and we could do a rewatch or something.
Yeah, I think maybe heroes versus villains.
Have you seen
Um,
that one before?
mm-mm.
Okay, then that's a perfect choice. That's widely considered one of the better seasons.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll do. Maybe maybe early in the new year,
Yeah,
something
we
to
can
go side
do.
by side with traders or something.
We'll call it Survivor Rewind, and we'll kind
Yeah,
of go
exactly.
watch it like it's new. Yeah, that I like that idea. That's a great idea. See, that's there you go, Charlie. I like
Just
that.
thought of on the spot. There we
I
go.
love it. We're gonna do so folks, if you're listening in the new year, we'll do a Survivor Rewind, which will be fun to watch. And maybe if there's time, we could do a Big Brother Rewind because there's a lot of Big Brother you haven't seen, and I can kind of
I
guide you
know.
there.
Yeah, we can do that. That
You could
sounds
watch it
good.
on fast forward. We could just watch like the challenge ones and not the middle of the week ones. But yeah, we'll figure it
Well,
out.
yeah, well, exactly.
All right. Speaking of Big Brother, Jesse Goddard, Mr. Spectacular, he calls himself, was in the finale of House of Villains.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Now, I believe where we last left off, we actually left off the last two episodes.
We did. Oh, we did. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So what'd you think?
It was, I mean, 2 episodes ago, not the finale, which just aired a couple hours ago. But you had told me that to be prepared, and a lot of the time when you hear that, you take it for a grain of salt. But not to jump immediately into the end of that episode,
I
but
was
man,
correct, right?
that was that was what we like to call a good old fashioned screaming match.
That was some heat. That was some heat. Basically we had a man off. We had Wes versus Jesse and literally like wrecking each other.
So we can skip to the competition where
Yeah.
their task is back in the day. You'll probably know, you might have done one of these. You're a big contest guy. A lot of times, car companies would have these contests where you have to touch the car with your hand, and the longest,
I have
last
done it.
one to stand wins the car, right? So they had
Correct.
their own version, except it was a to
Water
scale
statue
a to scale butter statue
of
of Joel.
Joel.
And my favorite part
And
was
and
they could
it,
put
he
their hand
was in
anywhere, and Safari goes right in the front,
in
dead
the
center,
midsection.
midsection, mid to low, and
He was
then he
exposed.
immediately questions, "Why did I decide to put my hand here?"
He knows why he did that.
Needless to say, he didn't make it too long.
So, folks, if you don't know, there's something about butter and human body heat that doesn't match well. The butter's melting.
Yeah, it was a
You can
disaster.
start to see the frame of Joel. Yeah, he Joel mentioned his midsection wasn't way too much information. Oh
Yeah,
man. Oh, dude, it
and
was
then it
funny.
gets down to Jesse and Wes. They thought they had a deal beforehand. They can't agree.
Swore on kids' lives.
And then Wes slips off. Jesse wins. Now, is Jesse going to uphold his deal? There's some politicking, but long story short, no.
No. And then Wes goes crazy. Jesse goes crazy. And they're both screaming at each other. Well, win. I don't remember exactly what was said. It was so loud, but well, win. Do it. You good. You wanted me to something along the lines of, you wanted me just to give it to you, and you wanted just to slide into the finale, or I don't know. So Jesse ends up being stupidly chooses Safari. Um, yeah,
Yeah, he breaks his promise to Wes, pick Safari.
which is not a good decision.
Not a good decision at all. I mean, it killed him.
Exactly. So what
And
happens
then,
in the finale?
yeah, so after Wes slips off, Jesse wins. That obviously leaves now Wes to have to go into the final challenge against New York and Larsa.
Yeah, and I was thinking though, when this scenario, they're done. I mean, Larsa and New York are not any kind of competition for West. West
Yeah,
from the challenge. I mean, come on.
not to mention the challenge then is like kind of a difficult task.
This is a
There's been
cakewalk compared to
that challenge actually has been, I don't know if you've seen one of these since you haven't watched that recently, but
there was one in Survivor like
they're
this.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple times, maybe once or twice, with spelling out
Mm-hmm.
a word. This one was actually a little more interesting because they had to pick who said what behind their back and put each quote to who said it. That was a nice little wrinkle.
And West wins, of course.
Dominated.
So then we say goodbye to New York and Larsa. Larsa, they're done. They're out. And we're up down to our final three. Our final three, of course, are Safari
Jesse
and
and
West.
Wes.
Yes. So let me give a pre-thought real quick before we talk about what happens. I was like, as soon as it was those three, I was like, oh, West won.
Me
That was my
too.
feeling.
Yep.
My feeling was, you know, listen, and I told you a couple things on text, but I want to explain that real quick. So the show is called House of Villains, and there was nobody in this season more villainous than Wes, without a doubt.
Not even
He made
close.
up. Not even close. He made up an idol. He made up a fake thing. And that's villainous. The way he talked with people and stuff. However, I will say this to say this. Although the show's called House of Villains, although all these folks have been villainous in their previous reality lives, oh Jesse, not so much. I don't understand that whole thing, but that's another story. Wait until you watch that season of Big Brother. Um, you still are with human beings who have feelings and emotions and social. It's still a social game.
Hmm.
And I feel like Wes shot himself in the foot in the social aspect of the game. And where it mattered the most was with Jesse. And turns out it ends up in a tie. And we had a tie in the first season at the end. I remember this, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Once again, we have a tie.
And this time it was the one who got. They did it slightly different though. Didn't they vote out the third person and then do a vote between the two and then the third person picked?
Yeah, it's the same third person
Yeah.
picking, though. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
you're right.
This
They did do
this
that.
time Jesse, without giving it away, well, up at the first six votes were tied 3-3 with two votes to go. Once Jesse was officially mathematically eliminated, they removed him from the equation, which if you think about it, hypothetically speaking, when the second to last person voted for Safari and then we had our tie, what if they threw a hinky vote to Jesse and then West gets the last vote? Then it's 4-3-1.
I
That's
feel
where
like
I
they
was a little unsure of how that should have played.
I feel like the episode, whatever unduly influenced the vote a little bit. I think, although here's my feeling, because I got this from watching New York when New York was talking. I think they have to register and log a vote before the ceremony actually takes place. And then so they're not influenced by how other people vote. All they're doing at the ceremony is speaking to what they decided to do. You get what
Okay,
I'm saying?
and that would take place after they pitched and spoke.
Right. So I think they have to tell producers, right, off camera that, okay, I'm going to be voting for this person.
Got it.
And then the producers, like in Survivor, when Jeff reads the votes, they already know what's in that urn. You notice always the first votes that are read are the ones they show on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's the same. I think they kind of pick who they're going to pick where to build suspense, which is not anything wrong. I mean, it's the vote is the vote, regardless. How you say the
Right.
vote is fine because the vote's still the vote.
Exactly.
And so, we had the tie, and then Jesse had to pick the winner, and here's where it gets interesting. And I will say this: I don't know about you, Charlie. As a man, I don't think I would ever get on my knees and beg anyone unless they had a gun to my face and said beg. I just don't see
That's
myself
that's
doing
essentially
that.
what Jesse had to Wes. A hypothetical gun to his face for 200,000.
Yeah.
Wes even said in his confessional, he said I was this close to telling him to f off, but he's like, for 200,000, you got to just do it. You got to try.
But you knew, I mean, I knew deep down, I was like, yeah, there's no way he's voting for it. I don't care. Like, he's just doing this to make what Jesse came
Yeah,
off as a total
yeah.
dick,
Jesse came off looking pretty bad at the end of that. Not gonna lie.
total dick. Yeah. I
He
mean,
uh he definitely earned his villainous title.
he did. Um, I don't know. Safari did not do anything on earth to win $200,000. I'm sorry. And I don't think the dude even needs $200,000 from what I understand.
House of Villains could get to where Survivor is present day, season 47, and Safari would be 47th ranked of the winners. I don't even need to see the rest of the seasons.
He
Yeah,
basically just glided through the season. I can't,
yeah,
there's no other way I could explain it.
that's
Like,
exactly
I
right.
don't even think he understood there was a reality show going on. He was kind of like,
Yeah,
I'm Safari, I'm cool. But you know what? That's that. We are absolutely, I have no doubt, going to see a House of Villains 3. It's a successful franchise. Joel McHale freaking rocks, and it's funny as hell. And yeah, we're gonna see a House of Villains 3.
yeah,
It's cheap to produce, I'm sure.
yep.
Um,
As long as they don't get more neighbor complaints.
yes. Yes. I do think I think I do think I do think we'll see the goat 3 2 also 3. Goat 2
The
also.
GOAT 3 too.
There we two.
TOO. I got you.
Um, so real quick, I wanna before we get to the next base, I wanna relay this real quick. For those of you remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about game show auditions. I want to let you know that there is a game show that is just started casting. They're not disclosing what it is, but reading through the between the lines, it looks like it's for the 1% Club, and they're taping the next season in Atlanta, Georgia. If you want more information on that, hit me up at Trivia Chat and I can give you the posting. I am not affiliated with it in any way, but I'm just sharing it.
And to piggyback off that, that is an Amazon Prime show, which we'll also have to get into soon. New show, Amazon Prime, Beast Games.
Beast Games. Real quick, Beast Games. So we got October from We Are Family on it, Erica from We Are Family on it, and we got some interesting. We got the
Sifu from Survivor, Sandy from
yes.
The Circle,
Can we talk about
Ainsley, the
Ainsley from
AI
Big
from Big
Brother?
Brother. There's a lot of interesting people on there, and a couple people from Squid Game Challenge.
Yeah, one of them who I actually had conversations with. That's interesting. Before, yeah, he was in the
Looking
running
forward
for
to that,
another
checking that
show.
one out.
Dan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And of course, we have after the new year coming up, we have
Traitors
and Deal or No Deal Island with
and Squid
one
Game.
one of our own.
Yeah,
It's wild. Yeah. We're gonna have a
a
lot to
lot of
talk
good
about
stuff
in the new
coming up.
year. Definitely. Speaking of good stuff coming up, okay, I've been dying to talk about this the entire podcast. We didn't want to start off with this because the last podcast was very heavy in the subject, but you seem very happy, buddy. You seem very content. I wonder why that is. What did the Cubs do this week?
They got themselves a king, King Tuck.
You guys got Kyle Tucker.
We did, we did.
Oh my
Very
God.
exciting, very very exciting. We talked about it in the last episode. Rumors were going rampant. It was one of those that
You were
you don't want to get
hoping.
your hopes up, but the fit just seemed too great. As I even mentioned in the episode, the only other team really in the hunt for him were the Yankees, and they couldn't compare to the offer, not even close. So it hurt to give up the first round pick from last season, but
Paredes.
you got to give
Isaac
up a little
Paredes.
bit. Paredes as well, and Hayden
Yep.
Wesneski. We
Yep.
actually nailed it pretty well. We said there's no way they would get Cam Smith, who was the first round pick, and Suzuki with Paredes, which we were right. Suzuki stayed. But still, we nailed the pitcher right in that range too. I had it being Assad, Wicks, or Wesneski, and it was one of the three. So,
You were right on. You know your stuff, man.
I mean, it made too much sense from all sides, honestly.
So here's my question though. I mean, you guys got the big fish. I mean, I think, in the trade market right now, probably the biggest fish there is other than pitchers. Maybe there's some
Oh
pitchers
yeah,
out there
no
like Crochet.
question.
Yeah,
We got the next closest thing to Soto, so
100%. So
can't really
now
be upset.
now the onus is on your organization to extend him and to
Yeah,
figure out a way to not make this a waste of, oh, it's not going to be a waste, but you want to at least have a long, don't like the Javi Baez it, Pete Crow
yeah.
Armstrong.
Now the nice thing here in this situation is, on the worst case he leaves, you got him for 1 year. They'll qualify offer him, so they'll get a high draft pick back at the minimum. So you just gotta win. That's it. Let
I
him
think
fall in love with Chicago, win some games, big
I think
market. He'll get his name out there. People don't know who he is. It's crazy. Honestly, he's a top 10 player in the majors offensively. And not a lot of people know him because he played in a smaller market, so to speak. So
let me
hopefully we
tell
give
you,
him some big name recognizability.
you want to know why I know him?
Why do you know
Baseball
him?
cards. So
Baseball career.
I look at baseball card prices, right? And I go, why is this dude's card higher than normal people? Because I don't really know him. And his rookie is 2019 tops. Same series as Pete Alonso. And I mean, Kyle Tucker's, I'm sure I have, you're going to get some rookie cards. I know I have them. But I was like looking at them like, oh, I had, because I know which ones to save. And I was like, Kyle Tucker. So I started doing research on him. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's legit. And so when we started talking about, the Chicago Cubs possibly getting him, I'm like, oh man, I know exactly who he is, and he's huge. But you're right, his name is not widely known. It will be. I mean, he's going to
Yeah.
Chicago. Dude, I think that you're man, Tucker Armstrong, a Hap. I mean, what the
What an
hell,
outfield defense. Yeah.
dude?
Wow.
That's amazing. Well, I love
That's
it. We're gonna be talking some
that's
Cubs
gold. That's
baseball,
Gold Glove City right there.
100%. I mean, and I think the chemistry is going to be so good. Like the whole, you want an outfield with good chemistry because, the fielding the ball in the outfield, you want to have guys who are going to know where kind of you're going and whatnot. And I think, yeah, I think the Cubs suddenly have one of the best outfields in the National League. I mean,
Yeah.
comparable to, look at the Mets, the Mets with Soto and
Nemo
Animo
and
and
Siri.
Gary. I mean, they're comparable, I think.
I mean, Soto's the best outfielder. D, whatever you want to put him, he's number one.
Yeah. But Tucker, holy crap, you
Yeah,
guys got
Tucker's right
you
too.
you did not spend $765 million on
Yeah, we
Tucker.
got
I
him for
mean,
about 16, 17 million for 1 year. So
right. So I think, yeah, I'm excited for the Cubbies,
yeah,
definitely.
he's definitely the best offensive player in the Central now, which is all you can ask for, and give yourself a chance. So
I
exciting
wonder if
things
he's
to still come.
I wonder if he's gonna I bet you he's gonna be at Cubs Fest. I have a feeling because he's new and maybe they want to kind of introduce him to the
It
fans.
it makes a lot of sense. They have some early names out so far. They don't have every name out there, but there's some interesting ones in the first announcement. So usually when you get a big acquisition like this, they show up for Cubs convention. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're right. They'll introduce him there.
When's Cubs Fest?
It's in early January.
So you think somebody else is gonna be at Cubs Fest? Pete Alonso?
Hopefully, maybe, but hopefully he stays with the Mets for you.
Now, if there's one, listen, and I've said this, and it's not just because of you, it's how I feel about the team. I've always loved the Cubs, even before I've known you. If he has to go to one team, maybe two. I mean, I could deal with the Orioles. I could deal with the Cubs. I could deal with the Marlins. I don't know the Marlins. There's no way they're opening their wallet for Pete Alonso.
How about the Rays?
I mean, that would be great for Pete because that's his hometown team. He's from
And
Tampa
pretty close
Bay.
for you. You could go see him play plenty.
Yeah, but I would rather him go to the Cubs because I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I'm just saying
I'd
we're
rather
just
him
talking
help.
acceptable list
No, I
here.
know. And no other like if he goes to like Houston, I don't think he goes to Houston because I don't think Houston is even wanting to pay for Alex Bregman. I
Yeah,
mean,
Houston's right. That's why they traded Tucker. So,
yeah,
and that's
Houston's
why.
not.
Speaking of Houston, we almost had another move. Nolan Arenado blocked a trade to Houston for this very reason. He wants to go to a competitive team, and it's funny is full circle. In his agent's quote, one of the
He wants
reasons
to go to the
why.
Mets.
Well, no, one of the reasons why he said no to Houston was they just traded Kyle Tucker. He
Yeah.
wants to win now, so he's not sure what they're going to do. So it sounds like he might wait for Bregman to sign because a lot of teams are in on Bregman, and Arenado could be Plan B. So teams don't want to make too aggressive of an offer for Arenado while Bregman still hasn't decided. So
I don't think Bregman signs with the Astros.
I
I
don't
think if
either.
that was going to happen, it would have happened already.
Yeah,
I don't.
I hope it doesn't come to it, but I don't know. The Yankees have been throwing that 750 million they offered to Soto all over the place. They signed Freed for 218. They traded for Cody Bellinger and took on about 27.5 million. They traded for Devin Williams. They've made some nice moves, but they lost Soto, so they need to make some more.
And they keep talking about Alonso. I don't see Alonso going to the Yankees. I don't think
I
he's a
still
fit.
think Christian Walker could be a good fit there.
Yeah.
But like Devin Williams, he would have to shave his beard. So we'll see if that comes into play.
Yeah, what though Devin Williams, if you didn't hear, Devin Williams said something along the lines this week of I'm gonna keep my beard as long as possible.
Right before spring training, probably.
It's an antiquated rule. It's stupid.
It's one of the worst in all of sports, honestly, if we're being real about it.
How you tell a man to shave his face? Like, what is
It's,
that? That's so stupid.
yeah.
Like, what is that? I don't, who cares? Like, I don't care if
Yeah.
a guy has a beard or a mustache. Like, whatever. Well, mustaches are okay, actually. It's the beard that's the issue.
Not to mention, people put up a side by side of what Devin Williams looks like with and without his beard, and they're basically like losing all of his aura.
I mean, look, Alex Verdugo looked nothing like Alex Verdugo once he shaved his beard off.
Yeah,
He
I
looked
can't wait to
weird.
see Doogie back to his old self once he signs somewhere else this year.
Yeah, I mean, Doogie had this red, what was he, red hair? I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah, red hair beard.
he
Uh,
he looked like the wildling from Game of
he
Thrones. Probably.
did.
Did you watch
That's
Game of
good.
Thrones?
No, I know who you're talking about,
Yeah,
though.
exactly. He's been in a couple commercials too.
Oh my God. So yeah, Pete Alonso still hasn't signed. I don't forecast that he signs until after the new year. I think
Yeah,
we're pretty much winding down on transactions because of the holidays.
yeah. There'll still be a few here and there. We had the biggest one we've had the last couple days was 10 million Max Kepler to the Phillies. So, people are still waiting for the bigger guys to drop. I
And the
think
Mets are
once,
bargain hunting for pitchers right now.
yeah. Hey, they've gotten a few. They signed another, picked up Griffin Canning.
But I said this, bro. We need pitchers that don't require work as much.
Yeah,
I
I hear
mean,
you, but the Mets have such success with them.
yeah, but
It's
dude,
hard to,
it takes time, and we don't
yeah.
have. I mean,
I mean, look at last year, though. Look at last year. You signed a bunch of these 1 year
yeah.
guys. Manaya, he turned
I
out
hope we
okay.
and look, we're not re-signed him yet.
Well, because now they fixed him so good, he's worth 25 million a year. So imagine us 1 year from now,
It's
episode
like your
80,
meme.
85,
It's like
Griffin
your meme.
Canning, fresh off of a 180 innings, 3.22 ERA for the Mets, takes him to the postseason, and bam, now Griffin Canning is getting 25 million a year. Maybe that's just what the Mets do. They find the diamonds in the rough.
I do hope we sign Sasaki. I forget his name. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but you know what I'm
Sasaki,
talking about.
yeah.
Sasaki, yes. We'll see.
Well, he won't sign until after January 15th, but the
Right.
Mets had a meeting with him today. Yeah,
They
Rory.
did.
Mets
I
are going to
think
be in
the
on
Mets
him.
have
Padres
a
are going to be in him. He's going to be a good, interesting one.
they
Padres,
have a good
Dodgers,
pitch.
Mariners.
Please no Dodgers. Enough with the Dodgers already. Enough with the
Yeah. So,
Dodgers
well, the
already.
interesting thing is the Dodgers are in the third tier of money. So there's about 4 or 5 teams that can offer him a little over 7 million. We might have talked about this last time. And there's another group of people that can offer him about 6.4 million, which is the Cubs are in the second tier. The Dodgers are all the way down in the third tier. They can only offer him about 5.1. So money will be a factor, but will he quibble over an extra million or 2 million? We'll see. But he's not a regular free agent. It's not like people can give him 200 million. So he's strict. He's limited to the bonus pool money.
And we
So
do have Kodai on the
Dodgers are a
Mets.
slight
So
disadvantage, and the Dodgers already have 6, 7 man rotation basically. So
yeah.
I think he's going to sign in one of the top two tiers. He's going to get at
Bu-
least 6.4 mil, something like that.
Bueller hasn't re-signed yet.
Now Bueller's
That's
available.
interesting.
Flaherty. I think all the same thing with the hitting market. People are waiting for Bregman to drop. I think they're waiting for Burns to drop. Everybody wants Corbin Burns still, but
And the Mets may get Corbin Burns. You never
yeah,
know. Although I don't see them spending the money on him like that. But okay,
the
we'll see.
qualifying offers also, so they'd have to give up 2 more draft picks and some more international pool money. So a lot
Yeah,
of moving parts on Burns.
but if somebody else signs Alonso, then they get that back. So
Exactly, or Mania, because they've
yeah, or
already got one for
Mania.
Severino.
Yep. Which replaced what they had to give up for Soto. So
Exactly.
to the Yankees. Uh
Stearns knows what he's doing, and he's got a big war chest of Uncle Steve's money. So
we'll
Mets
see
are in
how it
good
pans
hands.
out.
Yeah,
So we started this podcast almost a year ago, and one of the things we did, and we got really good feedback for it, but we haven't really done it in quite a while, is an unboxing. So we're gonna do an unboxing. Why
that's a good
not?
way to finish up.
Right?
Why not? Why
I
not?
think so. All
I
right.
just
So
I just so happen to have a baseball one here on hand since the theme of the off season. Okay, and it was pretty good when you got some questions, right? Usually you got a couple questions, or I would give you some hints.
yeah, I would start asking questions like it's like person, place, or thing, you know. What is
Exactly.
that? Okay. So my first question, is it a national leaguer?
It is. It is a National Leaguer.
Is it National League East?
It is not the National League East.
Okay. National League Central.
It is the National League Central.
Is it a Cub?
It's a Cub.
Okay. Is it
It's a
Ian
Cub.
Happ?
It had been a while since we did it, so I thought, why not?
I mean, with National League Central, it's not going to be the freaking Brewers.
R- Right. Not going to be the Cardinals.
Not to be Cardinals. Come
It could have
on,
been a
that's
red.
easy.
It could have been a red.
It might have been a red,
I
yes.
have a few of them.
Might have
I
been
have a
a
few. I have
pirate.
possibly, yeah.
Okay, so is it Ian Happ?
It is not Ian Happ.
Okay, is it an infielder?
It is not an infielder.
It's a pitcher.
It is not a pitcher. Again,
Outfielder,
it is an outfielder,
but it's not Ian Happ.
and it's not Ian Happ.
Is it a current player on the team?
Great question. It is a current player on the team,
Oh, interesting.
which
Okay.
narrows one more out because they won't have a cup bobblehead for him yet.
Oh, and I just had a brain. Oh, it's Pete Crow Armstrong.
Oh, we got a winner here.
Oh, is it a former Met minor
It is a
leaguer?
former Met. It finally arrived right
Dude. Oh,
here.
that's sick. Oh, that's
This is
sick.
his first major league hit, which happened to be his first
Oh,
major league home run.
were you at that game?
We were at the game, yes.
That's amazing. Let me see. Wait, wait. Oh, I gotta see that box. Oh, that's sick. I love
You can
that.
see right there that,
Yeah, first homer. That's freaking sick.
and then if you can see here on the back,
At 52. I
yeah,
love that. Oh man.
April 25th.
I'm we've talked about this. I'm fond of Pete Crow. I feel, you guys stole him for us for Javi Baez. Don't get me started. Um,
Hey, at least you're not the team that re-signed him to that contract, so you can
oh
take a
thank
little
God.
solace in that. You
Sorry,
didn't
Tigers.
compound a bad mistake.
Uh,
You just were smartly moved on.
yeah, not the Detroit Tigers, who may sign Max Scherzer back, which is interesting.
At
Um,
least that won't be for 6 years and 140 million.
but yeah, Pete Crow, one of the really good signings that you guys have done in quite a while. And yeah, I was actually following him in the Mets minors and I was really high up on him, and rightly so. um, you guys got a gift from the New York
He's so fun to
Metropolitans.
watch, honestly.
Yeah,
Just
he
watching
is.
him play Rome
He's a
and
good
center.
dude. He's fun. He's just fun
Yeah,
baseball player. I like your team. Like, listen, I mean, Happer is fun. You have fun players. You have good chemistry. Speaking of which, we didn't
absolutely.
talk about this. Also, a transaction that happened this week is Cody Bellinger went bye-bye
Yeah,
from the
briefly we
Cubs.
mentioned the money opened up by him, but you're right. We didn't actually talk about it, but yeah, he is now on the Yankees.
Yes, for a bag of peanuts, I believe, basically money, free up money,
Yeah,
but yeah.
they got
Um,
a 30-year-old swingman who's had some injuries, but he's been pretty solid when he's been healthy. So those are actually usually the guys, the cut like the Mets. The Cubs are usually pretty good at finding those guys. They've got their pitch lab analytics that they figure out, hey, we want you to throw this pitch a little more, this pitch a little less. So I mean, it's interesting to see what they do with him, but more interesting to see how they repurpose that 27.5 million.
so a question, real quick about Cody, because Cody was a first baseman and outfielder, and um, where does Anthony Rizzo go, former Cub? I mean, what happens?
So early in the offseason, there were reports he was close to signing with the Pirates, but
Hmm.
then nothing official ever came from that. So he's still currently out there. Pirates are a good fit, I think. PNC's got that short little right field. That'd be a good fit. I think he wants to
And
go
he'd be back
somewhere.
in the National League Central too.
Yeah, he played the Cubs. He'd go to Wrigley twice at least. Play him twice in Pittsburgh.
Still has
I think
ties to
he's going to go
Chicago.
somewhere where he can still play. That's what I think. I think he's done a good amount of winning. He won a World Series ring with the Cubs. They went to the NLCS another year. He just went to the World Series with the Yankees. So, sometimes some guys really want that. I think for him, he'd rather play every day. So we'll see.
Do the Rockies need him?
He could maybe they could be a fit.
Are
Rejoin with
reuniting
his boys.
Brizzo?
I like where your head's at, and that's a
Yeah.
nice ballpark to hit in if you can stay healthy.
One of my favorite things about the Cubs in recent years when they were on is Brizzo. I love that whole
I
the
know.
whole
It's the glory
bromance they
days.
had. Yeah, that was fun stuff. Like
Yeah,
I said, a fun team. But
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. See, sad. Sad.
Those
I
are the
remember
days.
I was literally in I told you this story, but real quick, I was literally in Chicago at the National Card Convention when they announced that they had traded Chris Bryant.
Mm,
I was like,
right at the trade deadline.
right at the trade deadline. It was late July.
Yeah.
It was oh man. I was in Rosemont walking to lunch at that
You probably
steakhouse.
saw a lot of people crying that
They
one
were
down your
upset.
walk.
Oh my God. Yes. Anybody with a Cubs hat was not happy. Yeah, and I understood, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so crazy. So anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered it.
I think so too. It's a good episode.
Yeah, we did pretty well on some predictions. So
You
hopefully
did very, what are you
we
talking
can
about? This is you.
no, team effort, we said,
All right,
remember?
all
I
right, all
believe the
right,
quote
team
was
effort.
team effort.
But I like to give credit where credit is due, and you're pretty darn good at this baseball stuff.
Well,
You know,
hopefully
you should go
hopefully
into
we have a
statistics or something.
hopefully we have a lot more we have a lot more to go still. There's still a good amount of off season to go.
There is,
Lots
and you
more
know,
moves to make.
one more comment to that. I hate when they put out the possible roster. Just get away with that already. Enough. If I see
Because
Brett
it's gonna
Beatty on
update
one
five
more
more times.
roster, if I see Brett Beatty, right? Or like if I see these people, I'm like, what is going on? Stop it.
I like that. Yeah, that's funny. It's anytime a move's made, they want to see where it stands present moment, even though they just put a little asterisk at the bottom that says will change 14 more times.
You have no idea how incensed I get when I don't see Pete Alonso on a roster. It's so bad. I legit get so mad. Oh my God. All
Well,
right.
there's a lot of time for that. I still think in the end
I
Pete
think
stays
so
the
too.
Met. So
I
we'll
think
see if
so
we get
too.
another one right.
Fingers crossed. All right, this has been Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host.
Charlie Seymour.
And I'm Tim Sternberg. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we'll see you next week. Bye,
And Kyle
everybody.
Tucker is a Chicago Cub.
He is. Bye, everybody.
Good to say that.